So we're back with the Precious Treasury, the Basic Space of Phenomena by Longchen Rabjam, and we're in the 10th section. So let's see. Longchenpa says, all-consuming thought patterns cannot be abandoned by being renounced, for they are the dynamic energy of awareness. Indeed. If you've ever tried to not have thoughts, you can do it for a little bit. Let's try now. Let's renounce thoughts. No thoughts. I can feel it brewing. Indeed, there's nothing wrong with thoughts. As Longchenpa says, they are the dynamic energy of awareness. So the true nature of thoughts is such that there are no distinctions, nothing to differentiate or exclude, so that nature is not ensured by achievement, but arises as basic space. Without rejecting samsara, you perceive it to be naturally occurring timeless awareness through the pure yoga of the dynamic energy of the vast expanse of being. So, whatever seems to be manifesting right now, its nature is the same as the awareness, the nature of mind. And so, the key distinguishing factor here is whether this is recognized or not. If there isn't recognition, then there is confusion, ignorance, the root of samsara. And if there is recognition, well, then there's the phenomena of nirvana. So without having to reject samsara, without having to choose nirvana, merely resting in awareness is sufficient. Not dealing with phenomena or accepting their terms. A nice analogy for this that we've mentioned a few times is like a person seeing a snake on the ground. You see, they go up to this snake, they're shocked by it, scared, terrified, it's a snake. And in a few moments, they realize, oh, that was a rope. Well, the recognition of the nature of that rope in the analogy immediately dispels the snake. The snake is gone. It can't come back. If that person would try to believe really hard in the snake again, it wouldn't work because they've seen the rope. So just like that, when phenomena arise and there's a little bit of confusion, that confusion is dispelled immediately by recognizing the nature of that thought, the nature of the phenomenon. Once that nature is seen, the content of that phenomenon can no longer be believed in, just like the person cannot return to believing in a snake. And so experience with that, with this liberation of phenomena, is what builds confidence in resting in awareness. It's the whole practice. And just from that. Okay. So Longchenpa continues. Dago says ding, which we learned earlier today, means confidence in awareness. Very nice. So in the timeless unity of sensory appearances and mind, the naturally settled state that is the true nature of phenomena, meditative absorption is experienced as an unwavering, ongoing flow. Thus, the Vajra pinnacle, the most excellent enlightened mind of Samantabhadra, is the most sublime, spacious state equal to space. The most sublime meditation of all involves no differentiation or exclusion. It is spontaneously present as the superb, timelessly infinite monarch. Hmm. So resting in awareness. You see, awareness already does not differentiate things. You can tell this because you've never seen quadrants of awareness. There's no black awareness over here, white awareness over there, red awareness, green awareness, or any nonsense like that. Very clearly resting in it, it is one space. And these phenomena that seem to arise are the same nature as that awareness. So, do they really have characteristics? Where does big exist? A mountain is big, yes? Well, where's big? A mouse is small. Where is small? What this differentiation is, giving things properties, creating objects, is just the movement of conceptual mind, essentially arbitrary decisions that have just been believed in and taken at face value. And so, without even needing to get rid of those beliefs one by one, the whole collection of them, the whole unity, is addressed just by resting in awareness, and just by letting everything be. It is very simple, very kind. So Longchen continues, the ongoing flow of utter lucidity, timeless and omnipresent, is spontaneously present within this context, in which nothing is discarded or adopted. Is spontaneously present, you see, is referring to the fourth time. Spontaneous, like we were talking about in the group before this, means that it doesn't have a cause. There's no pre-awareness state. So the language used to describe this is spontaneous. By itself, present. So within this context in which nothing is discarded or adopted, and so it is the most sublime enlightened intent, the basic space of phenomena, the nature of samsara and nirvana. This vast expanse, unwavering, indescribable, and equal to space, is timelessly and innately present in all beings. It is the ordinary confused mind that perceives sensory appearances to be something other than oneself. It is the ordinary confused mind that believes in meditation and making an effort. The true nature of confusion is the realm of equalness, the natural state of rest, the natural expanse that is unwavering and primordially pure. There is nothing to do and no effort to make. Whether or not you are resting is irrelevant. Yeah. And we've talked about the nature of confusion before, how to resolve confusion, how to resolve doubt. Because the confused mind is clear, right? What is meant here? It's the mind, the conceptual mind that thinks in terms of concepts, that creates objects and beliefs. So that can be confused. So when confusion arises, initially there can be a tendency to want to solve that confusion by developing understanding. And indeed, developing an understanding can dispel some kinds of confusion. It certainly feels like that. Well, why is that not the practice? Well, it's because the confusion is essentially the belief in confusion. The premise of the confusion has been accepted now, and you're now in the confusion's world. This contraction into the confusion. And when understanding comes, intellectual understanding, well, that dispels confusion by adopting just a different belief. Is that new belief more or less correct? Well, it can feel good. Yeah, Dago says dream language. Yeah, speaking dream language to yourself. So what is the actual practice? Well, it's seeing the nature of the confusion. Seeing the confusion for what it is, which is the nature of mind, awareness. And so the practice is just resting as this, as the nature of mind already. When confusion then dawns, it's no problem for you because the nature of confusion is the same as what you were already resting as. So it can do no harm to you then. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant, completely irrelevant whether or not this confused mind is confused or not. It doesn't need to be solved. It's fine. So we let it be, however it is. So Longchen is even saying whether or not you're resting is irrelevant. Well, what of this meditation that we do where we relax the body, relax the environment? Well, these are good directions. It's increasing familiarization with awareness in this seeming gradual path where familiarization increases. But of course, there is no gradual path in awareness. It could not possibly exist. Awareness was never bound to begin with, so it doesn't need liberation. So relaxing is not relaxing awareness. It's relaxing this tendency to grasp this innate ignorance, confusion. And that can proceed what seems to be some span of time. It doesn't have to be that way. It could be immediate. Awareness could be accepted on its own terms, just immediately. Highest of the high, and from the RO text. But what distinguishes this is the degree of confidence in awareness. And so, for almost everyone, there's like a dipping toes in the pool phase where phenomena arise. And we see, is this phenomenon the nature of mind? Okay, yes. What about this phenomenon? Also, yes. What about this phenomenon? I'm not sure. It stays around for a while, but probably yes. So let's see. Oh, yes. Yes. Okay. And so on and so forth until we get the point. Okay. So Longchenpa continues. Given the unchanging, spontaneously present nature of phenomena, if you look again and again with self-knowing awareness, free of any complicating conceptual framework, you will see that there is nothing to look at. Oh, isn't this nice? We were just saying, and here's Longchenpa saying, yes, again and again. And looking, of course, means at the nature. So not examining the content. Seeing what is it made of? Where does it come from? Where does it go? Kadnai Jo. Yeah, when you look at these things, you don't find anything. You find the awareness that you already are. So Longchenpa says, nothing to look at. This is the view of omnipresent awareness. Given awareness, which is not cultivated in meditation, and in which nothing is discarded or adopted. If you meditate again and again, you will see that there is nothing to cultivate in meditation. Nothing to cultivate in meditation. This is the meditation of omnipresent awareness. Yeah, it's the tendency that people have to look for antidotes or try to do something about things that appear and bother them. It's very natural to do that, but it's ultimately the product of confusion, not seeing the nature of that thing. Like the person seeing a snake and not a rope. The only way out of that that's really proper is to see the nature of the rope and not to convince themselves through antidotes that, oh, I've seen snakes before. I haven't been hurt by snakes before. It's probably okay that there's a snake there. Or drawing a mystical circle around the snake to keep it contained, or who knows what people do. No, you see the nature directly. And then you can save quite a lot of time and gain quite a lot of confidence in this practice. Dago says, I was just saying that last session, we're not cultivating emptiness. Cultivating is a word for the first through the eighth yana. Yeah. Yeah, Longchenpa agrees. No cultivation. Yeah, always good. So Longchenpa continues, given the way of abiding, non-dual and free of acceptance and rejection, if you engage in conduct again and again, you will see that there is no conduct to enact. No conduct to enact. This is the conduct of omnipresent awareness. Yes, if you see the nature of the conduct, you see it as awareness itself, well then, what are you doing? What is happening? That could go on for a while, so let's leave it there. So, given spontaneous presence, timelessly ensured and free of hope and fear, if you strive to achieve again and again, you will see that there is nothing to achieve. Nothing to achieve. This is the fruition of omnipresent awareness. Within the state of equalness, there are no thoughts about sense objects and no reification of ordinary mind. So the occurrence of and involvement in hope and fear are pacified. Like we were saying, awareness does not have any state, it does not have any properties. You can see this directly. Therefore, it does not have any thoughts. It cannot be perturbed by any thoughts. Thoughts are not possible in awareness, which is not to say that there's anything wrong with thoughts. They just do not modify it. These appearances, these dreamlike appearances, are just energy. The play of dynamic energy of awareness. So, with that view, they have no involvement. And so, Longchenpa is saying, hope and fear thereby are pacified. Because why would you be afraid of these things? And why would you hope for them? Yeah, Dago.
Yeah, I think that this is a great point about the play of the mind, but perhaps worthy to mention that it doesn't negate empathy, right? We can begin to realize the empty appearances, for example, of Little Bear, the doggy, but Little Bear still very much subscribed to those appearances, right? So it doesn't bring us into an extreme where we're just like, oh, it's all illusory, it's all the play, and we don't care anymore. You see what I'm saying? What do you think about that?
Yeah, very much concur. Even in dreams, knowing that it's a dream, lucid in the dream, I'm still very kind to everyone. I don't think I've ever hurt anyone in a dream. Yeah, this is, at least in my experience, so I'm just talking personally here. It's much easier to be kind to everyone. You want to do that, you know. The fighting urge just kind of lessens up because you're not really protecting yourself anymore. This awareness very clearly cannot be hurt. So if you can relocate yourself, so to speak, into that, well, then you get very confident. Your naturalness comes out. It's not restricted by thought proliferation and judgments. And at least as I've seen it, both in myself and in the Sangha, it turns out that people by nature are really quite good. They want to be nice to each other. Nobody wants to hurt each other, not by default anyway. And so, being able to rest in awareness, people's natural kindness comes out without needing to make any effort about that. Which doesn't mean that you're, on the surface nice to everyone, but the intention is always love. Yeah, the tendency to negate things is always intellectual. Awareness does not negate. It has no need to negate. Yeah, thank you, Doug. Well, that was lovely. Maybe let's end there. That's a good spot. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you were here. Any final comments or questions before we wrap up? Yeah, Don.
When you're saying that, so when you're in that state of awareness, your natural tendency is to be kind. Does that mean when you're experiencing or seeing others who are not being kind or who are less? Does that mean that they are not in that state of awareness, and that it is true that everyone truly intends to be kind? I'm just noticing, like in the world around, I see a lot of unkindness, and I wonder, is that just because they're not aware, or do they truly intend to not be kind in that? Even myself, sometimes when I'm driving, I am not kind to other drivers when they behave in ways that affect me. They're not paying attention. This happened to me literally while I was on my way to do some chores for the farm today. I had 3 different times in a span of 5 minutes, people not paying attention. They're looking at their console or whatever, and they go over the median, and they're coming at me, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Jeez," and like, I'm not kind to that. I'm not having kind thoughts about that person. That's God coming at you.
Well, so when that happens, what you see, and you're describing it, so we know that you saw it, is what happened and how that made you feel. Did you like doing that? Was it natural to you? or not?
No,
There's no right answer.
I
Maybe
didn't
it
feel
is.
good about it. I felt compressed. I felt anxious. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Hmm.
And so seeing that with the awareness will reduce the karmic holding of that. It'll pull some hooks out. And over time, it'll gradually reduce. And it'll reduce to what feels natural for you. So everyone will be a little different. You know, whatever is natural is what will come out. What you want to do, you'll be doing. And I try not to read other people's minds. So I don't see them as like, flawed individuals walking around.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dago?
Can you talk about how the fourth foundation of mindfulness integrates into effortless abiding?
Yeah, so the fourth foundation is the environment. We actually started this session with a meditation on that, inspired by you.
Yay.
So integrates into effortless abiding. Oh, whatever is occurring is mind. Yes? Like in a dream. And so, like awareness itself, it doesn't have any flaws. Nothing wrong is occurring. So, in that sense, whatever happens is like a teacher pointing you back to awareness. So, Dalway gave a shock emoji. I don't know if that's good.
That seems to answer Don's question too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Daga. You happy with that, Tom?
Very. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Tago.
Yeah, Choku.
You better watch out when there's two of us.
Yeah, thanks for the chance to jump in. I was going to share with Don something that has been really important for me. I forget what the topic was. I forget how it related, but I brought up a good friend of mine. And this good friend of mine here in Tennessee was really going through it, and he had this pattern in his speech and in his thinking. And I categorized it as very negative. And like, how do I help this guy with this thing? And what was pointed out to me was, I don't know that it's negative for him. And I don't know how his patterns play out in the totality of his life and with his wife and his friends. And he has his own business. And I don't know how any of those things all feed together. And what Dolly said to me was that I can let other people be where they are, and just see what happens. And I was like, yeah, but he's my friend. I need to think about that he's really struggling, and I need to think like it's. I had this great justification, and what I wasn't seeing was that my own, just the way that I saw him, and I'm trying to fix it. I saw it as a problem for him, and it was causing me some agita. I took the advice, and I let this good friend of mine exist outside of my story. I stopped perpetuating the story to my wife and to myself and to my sangha. And an incredible thing happened. The next time I went to go see him, which was like the very next day, completely unplanned, he was like a ball of joy. He had all this. And I'm not saying that from my house necessarily letting him, exist outside that story freed him. I'm saying that I might not have seen his joy if I had gone there, and with my like looking at him the way that I do, like a psych patient that needs me to like reel him in off the fence or whatever. So when you were sharing, I was thinking about that particular experience, that I have gained an immense amount of freedom uncoupling from needing to have an opinion about whether someone is contracted or not, whether someone is free or not, whether somebody is angry or not. And probably the pithy way to say that would have been to say that there are many times a day that Elliot thinks that I am being mean and therefore not in awareness, right? This week, he's been on a kick about candy for breakfast. He wakes up and the first request is, can I have some candy? It's like, no, brother, you can't have candy. How about something with red dye 40? This is one of his requests, specific requests. And I tell him no, and sometimes he cries, and sometimes not. But I know it appears mean to him. It appears unkind. And it's not. But I can't explain that to him. So I've just found an amazing benefit in letting folks be where they are at. People that are really close to me, and then people like politicians and things like this. So I hope that benefits. Dorje and Dago tag teamed and said it all very well, but I already had my hand raised, and that's my experience. So I hope it benefits.
Yeah, thank you, Choku. Yeah, Dawe often says that it's like every day a fresh slate, not coming in with pre-existing notions of people. If someone makes a mistake, tell him, drop it. Don't tell him and then hold it. So in this way, it's also very hard to hold grudges. You would naturally experience the freedom of not holding any grudges, which is very nice. Yeah, how are you gonna have that, holy your feeling? Oh. That's the dinner bell. Which is very nice for them and very nice for you. You don't want to hold grudges. They don't feel good. So if I do some stupid things, you forgive me immediately, okay? Thank you. All right, very good. Any last words? Final statements for tonight? Yeah, very nice then. All right, let's end here. So any merit we may have generated today, let's remember the beings in this presence who are suffering and give it all to them in a moment of silence. Thank you.